Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Hello and welcome to Footy Judge More people. It's your counter views. I miss these two, streaming with them. Listen, people,
I don't.
I am not comparing Saka to Foden. It's just what is out there. Arsenal play today. Listen, Manchester City, to be honest, destroyed Manchester United yesterday. We'll talk about Marcus Rashford, Phil Foden's performance, of course. What does the win yesterday mean for Manchester City's season, the coming game against Liverpool? Liverpool with Nunez. Nunez is clutch for Liverpool, but also there is a lot of talk about what the referee should have done. Why did the referee give the ball to Liverpool? And why is everybody talking about this, of course? And also, we'll talk about the upcoming game between Manchester City and Liverpool. What does it mean? But listen, people, hit that like button for me. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. If you're watching this on the replay, like the video. I'm here with the great Nobbins and the great Tom Little, of course. And we're here for a great show for you. So hit that like button. How's everybody feeling this afternoon for you guys?
I'm feeling like I'm top of the league.
I'm feeling like I'm second in the league.
I'm feeling like we're both better than Arsenal.
So I think that the first question that I would ask, I'm gonna ask Tom about this. Let's get right into it, right? Did you feel that Man City can drop points after they went 1-0 down? Or no, you didn't.
No. Because United weren't doing the right things to keep it at 1-0. Any United fan should be absolutely disgusted with Marcus Rashford's performance in that game. And Alejandro Garnacho's to a degree. United set up to sit deep and have a press to try and at least limit City. And McTominay and Fernandes done that very well, I thought. A lot of run, a lot of hard work, won the ball back in some good situations. They then had zero outlet because Marcus Rashford was walking around. Marcus Rashford was ambling about, seeing his arse, not doing any of the hard work. Garnacho, same thing. That's what killed United. So the moment I saw Marcus Rashford walking around the pitch in the 20th minute, I went, it's over. It's just a matter of time. And even when Haaland missed that gilt-edged chance right in the stroke of half-time, never felt like, ooh, City are going to be rattled by that. No. Because United weren't doing the right things. They weren't. And that's the biggest thing. Rashford scored a fantastic goal. Incredible goal. But that's meaningless if you are then a net negative for your team for the rest of the time on the pitch. I thought Ten Hag actually nailed City's weakness. He kept getting Onana to play long balls over the top of Kyle Walker and Ruben Diaz. Or was it John? It was Ruben Diaz, wasn't it, on the right-hand side? Or was John? Whoever it was. In that gap there, and have one of Fernandes, McTominay, or Garnacho chase it down. Get in behind the defence. Completely bypass the midfield where they're not going to do anything. Get in behind the defence and try and see if they can create something while City are trying to panically get people back. The issue was no one was supporting them once they made them runs. Fernandes would make the run, and he'd be in a 1v4 because Rashford isn't there supporting, Garnacho isn't there supporting, McTominay isn't there supporting. Rashford had chances. Rashford got played through one-on-one and headed the ball into the ground. Rashford had a not easy finish, but a finish at the back post 5 yards out and missed the ball. The goal he scored was ultimately meaningless because of how bad the rest of his game was. And United were never going to hold off this spell of City pressure, especially when Phil Foden is in the form of his life and he's performing at the level he is. And City were just knocking on the door, and United were tiring because the players were having to do too much running because no one from the wide areas for United was getting back to support them. You could see it inside 10 minutes. That's why I was never sitting there going, oh, yes, United are going to get something here. No. And I think Nobbins will have felt the same way. Not in the sense of, oh, it's easy, but when you're watching that game, you're going, it's just a matter of time. This isn't a game where we look out of ideas. This is a game where it's just patience because it will all fall for us.
Yeah, that first half was like the least 1-0 game like I've ever seen. And yeah, you're quite right. I looked at that halftime. I was like, right, well, if we play a similar way in the second half, we will win quite comfortably. United were not offering anything really. Ten Hag set them up as a relegation team. basically. It was very similar to how, like, I expect Sean Dyche's Burnley to play against us, or Sheffield United, or like a team threatened by relegation. Incredibly deep, low block, very passive press, no ideas tactically outside of punting the ball up long. Gary Neville said in commentary at one point, Ten Hag's tactical plans work great so far. There wasn't a tactical plan. You can't legislate for Haaland to miss a sitter and for Rashford to score like a 3% chance. I agree with Tom's analysis on Rashford overall. He was poor. It was awful overall. Too many times he gave away the ball and just like ran out of play and turned.
It's never a foul for the first goal, by the way. Him going down there is so soft.
Oh yeah, like that. That's I can't actually believe that's even a discussion for some people. Like he literally pats him on the shoulder. This is a contact sport. Let's not forget. It's definitely not. It's not enough contact to do anything. Never mind to fall over to the ground. And from there, again, you could say that goal is Rashford's fault because he doesn't actually get back and track back. Instead, he stays with the impression of Bruno Fernandes and cries and complains for a foul, which was never a foul. City were absolutely.
I actually disagree with both of you, to be honest.
There's no way you think that's a foul.
It being a foul?
No. I disagree with you about the how Man United set up. About the foul, just to get this over with. But before I do that, guys, it's about 150 of you here. And we need to get this as quickly as possible to 100 likes. So the like button is underneath your live chat. As quickly as possible. If you're watching this in the replay, like the video. If you're watching us now, stop what you're doing. You're chatting to us and hit the like button. The like button is underneath your live chat. So hit that like button so we can continue. Otherwise, we're not going to get people. Uncle Matt, if you are saying I'm begging for likes, I'm asking for you to like the video. If you don't like it, I never said that to people. You can fuck off and not watch.
This content's free at the end of the day. Like, it's not an issue to ask
I am
likes.
timing you out. You're a very negative person. And I'm putting you out. If you want to watch, you can watch. If you don't want to watch, you can leave now. You cannot send a message for the next 5 minutes.
True.
I'm being serious. I never do this to people. But if someone doesn't understand what the like button does, I'm not asking you for a super chat. The super chat, of course, gets you involved in the conversation, all the stuff. But the least you can do for the free things is to hit that like button. If you don't like it, you don't like it. So fine. You can just hold a 6-minute or a 5-minute timeout. Yeah. And if you want to continue enjoying the show, you can. If not, fine. Anyway, back to the show.
Rod.
The setup for Man United is good. For the free kick, I'm going to tell you why it's good. I'm going to tell you why, from my opinion, I would have done exactly the same. For the free kick, if the referee called it, I would accept it because I've seen a lot of free kicks for someone who's pulling someone's arm being called, right?
He didn't pull his arm though. He patted his shoulder, Mo.
No,
this isn't a conversation.
It was not shoulder. No, Bens, it wasn't. Go watch it while we're live. He put his hand like here on this area.
He touched it. Wherever he touched him is moot. I'm making the point that he didn't. There was no action of pulling. It was a touch. It was a placement. There is no action of pulling.
I'm gonna keep the same energy. I can't judge the force. We aren't judging the force. No, Bens. Me and you aren't in a place to judge the force. But was there a contact? Is it soft?
I have eyes.
Yes. But we can look at it.
You can gather the force. At no point does Walker go like that. He doesn't go like that to his arm. He puts his hand
you
on
guys,
it.
I'm not arguing for the sake of argument, but for you guys to say it's not a foul at all, I have seen these given many times.
Do you think it's a foul? Yes or no?
I think it's a 50-50 thing. It's to the discretion of the referee.
Crazy.
Really, absolutely. It's soft.
I just want to go to your point on the setup though.
Can I? Okay, so let's just finish that. You guys don't think it's a foul at all. I think it's a 50-50. I've seen them given and I've seen them not given. And in this context, I don't know if the referee saw the contact or not. There is no reason to go to the VAR, right? But I have seen them given in the half field. I've seen them given. Ake, if I'm not mistaken, got a free kick to the left side for Dallo, or I can't remember who was playing right side, Garnacho pulling his arm, right? And it wasn't as... It's the same. It's soft. I've seen them given. I know people say it's not a free kick at all. I get it. If it was given against my team, I would have been livid. But if it was not given against my team, I would have been absolutely annoyed as well. So I understand why some Man United fans are annoyed. I understand that. But for you guys to dismiss it completely, to saying that it wasn't at all, I just don't get it. I'm being...
Because it isn't at all.
Okay, you can say that. That doesn't mean...
It's certainly... It's not enough for him to fall over.
Let's ask you a series of questions to reach a conclusion. Did he put his hand on his arm while he was running?
He touched him, yes.
No. Did he grab his arm? Did he put his arm? Did he grab his arm? Yes or no?
Let me have a look.
It's very simple. You could have watched it again. Watch it again.
I'm doing it right now. I'm doing it right now for you. Let me have a look. Yes, he grabs his arm, but there is clearly no action of a yank or a pull. Okay. It is a touch. I would describe it as a touch.
Okay, he did grab his arm.
The actual area, it is he is grabbing onto Rashford's bicep. He's literally touching his bicep.
Yeah,
and Rashford then decides to fall over.
He's grabbing him. Pulling him back or not is different.
He doesn't pull him back at all. As I say,
he doesn't. I didn't see the arm moving back.
For you. I will reenact it for you. That's what happens. If that makes you fall over, you are not a professional footballer.
No,
quite frankly.
He chose to fall over, which is
exactly.
Why
so he dived.
Saying.
So he chose to fall over. So he dived.
He chose to fall over.
He chose to fall over. So therefore, you've just accepted the grab did not make him fall over.
By the way, a lot of teams, a lot of players choose to fall over when they are grabbed, even though the force isn't enough for you to fall over. When you have a king of that, which is Jack Grealish.
So he dived.
He chose to fall over. Yes, he did. But there was contact. So it's a 50-50 to the discretion of the referee.
I'm glad we can agree he dived.
No, but yes. the reason why I don't think it's a 50-50...
Why are we arguing this? I said my opinion, you said your opinion. We're never going to agree.
Well, move on then. You kept going, Mo.
I just don't like the idea.
I wanted to talk about the
setup. Look at Tom.
No, but it's just the win. A 50-50 at the discretion of the referee. It's a contact sport at the end of the day.
Yeah, this isn't basketball.
I'm watching it here. Rashford takes about 2 steps before he falls over. Rashford's still going for that ball and goes, fuck.
Never disagreed with this.
So I just think I would hate it if that was Nunez running through on goal and someone done that to him. I'd have a go at Nunez for being a
if I was a United fan, I'd be screaming at Rashford. I'd be screaming at him.
I am not saying he didn't. That Rashford.
I ban Uncle Mad, by the way.
I called Rashford. Huh?
We ban Uncle Mad in the chat.
I'm not gonna ban him. He just learned. I don't understand why.
I don't like him.
I'm not gonna ban him if he gets one more comment that is annoying.
Mods, get ready.
Right, Ikram. I'm gonna say this to you. The difference between
forget addressing the people in the chat, please.
No.
Forget addressing the people in the chat.
No. The difference, Ikram, between Kyle Walker on Rashford and Akanji on Alisson is Alisson is supposed to use his arms.
Tom, forget addressing, as Sam says, the free seaters, please. Like everybody, like I love the people that watch me and everything, but also I have to respect someone like Ryan, for example. So Ryan spent his hard-earned money to send a super chat to support the channel. Does that make sense? If any team wins that game on Sunday, then that team goes to win the league, in my opinion. It's the decider. It's the biggest Premier League game on the club. We'll talk about this. So I'm going to save the super chat, Ryan, and when we come, we'll talk about it. It's already started. It's saved. Moving on from this, the setup. Let me talk about the setup. Couple of things. The quality isn't there for Man United. He would have been battered 6-0 if he opened up. Let me tell you one of the things. When they opened up, Phil Foden went 1-on-1 like this. Like this. Does that make sense? Man United had no other option than actually dropping deep and defending deep and hitting on the counter-attack. And just to let you know, Man United sometimes bypass the press and got the ball to Marcus Rashford. Is it by long ball? Is it by punting the ball to Marcus Rashford? He got it under control, and he had a couple of chances to go at Kyle Walker or Diaz. He chose not to. As you guys said, he went behind Kyle Walker, chose to fall down in the first time. When he felt contact, he chose to go down. That's why I say Ten Hag set them to a point where they can actually score goals. The chance that Foden have in the first half was Man United opened up, and the other chance that Haaland missed. But that's the only two chances I
No,
can remember.
I don't agree at all. The reason why City were able to score goals in that second half was because City knew that we didn't have to respect United, so we changed it in the second half. We moved Rodri to a single pivot and we pushed Stones forwards because we knew that they were, and we pushed Walker out wide. So we basically had the back two because we knew that United were not offering any offensive value or threats realistically. So we pushed even further. So United didn't open up at all. The reason why they were easier to cut through is because they showed us too much respect in that first half. So we just decided to push our players up even further. That led to overloads. That led to the goal being scored. What United should have done is I don't have an issue with them setting up in a low 4-4-2 block because that's what United are always going to do because they don't have the quality to do anything else. However, the press was so passive. And they just did not get out quickly enough to the likes of Rodri or Stones in midfield.
They didn't need to.
No. They did. No. They absolutely did. Case in point, end of the first half, the goal that Haaland should score comes from Bruno Fernandes being so passive on Rodri and just allowing him to get his head up and play a pinpoint chip diagonal into Foden, who heads it across goal. Haaland should score. That comes about from United being so pathetic, quite frankly, in their pressing and not actually wanting to engage.
United's defence wasn't good enough to sort of set up a barricade in front of their goal and low block and just allow the game to happen in front of them. United also needed to have moments of respite where they were up the other end of the pitch. It gave the defence a chance to get up. Because what happened was City were just starting to sustain pressure, and you'd see United's back line drop deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper, which meant City had more space to play in, which ultimately meant they just got to keep the hold of the ball more and wear them down. Because Rashford and Garnacho weren't pressing, that means McTominay and Fernandes had to do more, which therefore meant they were more burnt out. So the moment City bypassed that first line of the press, they were in at one point I counted it, a 6-on-2 against Mainu and Casemiro, and they had Doku, De Bruyne, Bernardo, Foden, Stones, and Rodri. So, like, all them players around Casemiro and Mainu, there's nothing they could do. They just kept suffocating United. United needed... I agree to an nth degree. The way United played the first 20 minutes when they had energy, spot on. Spot on. They were causing City problems. They were making sure they were aggressive defensively. City couldn't have the same opportunities. But the moment that the weaknesses of their wingers were exposed, the rest of the team fell apart. You can't have a well-oiled machine like that with two dodgy cogs because the rest of it will fall apart. Personally, I would have played the likes of an Ahmad. Is he as good as Rashford ability-wise? Probably not. But is he going to fucking run for me for 90 minutes? Yes. And that's all I need him to do. That's all he needs to do. He needs to make sure that they are not being exposed in the same way that they were. Because that was what killed United. They just got worn out. And I think the second goal, the one which Foden scores, the eventual winner, you could just see how tired that United team was. It was like playing round, you know them like things they chuck in the ground at training for the wall, the little yellow mannequins. That was what City were playing round. It was just bang, 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 bang. Casemiro couldn't move. Varane couldn't move. Kambala, I can't say his name, couldn't move, and they just cut right through them. The first 20 minutes where Rashford and Garnacho put everything on Fernandes and McTominay in terms of defensive work is what killed United. And that's what cost them. If United had wingers who wanted to work, United probably gets a draw out of that game. Because it probably means City don't get the same level of opportunities. It means that the team can be, as Nobbin said, a little bit more aggressive in the press because they've got more energy to do it. That's the difference. And that's where I think I go back. City set up, and Nobbins can correct me if I'm wrong here. City set up in the same ilk that we did last year at Anfield. A 4-4-2 in defence. But the difference was our wingers in Jota and Elliott ran from minute 1 to minute 90. They did not stop at all. And that led to moments where Jota was making slide tackles in the box against KDB. And Elliott was making clearances in the 6-yard box. but it meant City didn't have the same space and the same time and the same opportunities to suffocate us and block us in. That was what United got wrong. Their wingers just... It's not a Ten Hag thing. It's a squad issue thing. But that's why I think the finger needs to be pointed at Rashford yesterday, because he cost them. He let them down yesterday. Because that's a Manchester derby. He's a homegrown lad. That should be one of the biggest games of his season. And to put in that little effort and that little work rate... To be honest, I thought he was injured. The way he was walking around, the way he was playing, I thought like in the 10th minute or something in a 50-50, he got injured and was just trying to soldier on. But no, he was just that lazy. If that was one of my players, I'd be absolutely livid. And I'm sure you would.
I'm just gonna... okay. I get what you're saying. I get your point about that you worn out and all the stuff. But I still think that Man United did... Ten Hag, as much as we criticize him, he had no other option for me. That the young player that came on, this is what he has on the bench. And Marcus Rashford not working hard, or Garnacho not tracking back. He can try. But again, you cannot ask the player anything to do. Like you ask the player something, if the player doesn't do what you ask. And it might be instructions that Rashford doesn't track back. I watched the second goal, and I think the second goal is a lapse of concentration. It's more of a genius from Man City that they actually... What Man City did is that they made Man United disjointed. The line wasn't close. Varane was out of position. And I think it was still Johnny Evans was somewhere else. And the right back was within a completely out of place. In my opinion, sometimes you just have to say that Man City have more quality. And that's all what Man United can do. It doesn't have to be a mistake from Man United. It's just Man City, in my opinion, that move when Phil Foden went to the left and Julian Alvarez came on and they overloaded the side. In the second goal, there was 5 players from Man City on one side. 5 players. And that made Man United confused. And that's what opened the space for Foden to do that. I think this is what it is. It doesn't have to be that Man United made a mistake. Yes, every goal has to be, we can pick the mistakes and do all of this. But sometimes you'll have to say, yeah, that was a genius move by Man City, because the way Man City moved the ball to get Foden on that, I actually discussed it with LB before, but I thought it would be Doku on the left, and there will be space between the fullback and the center back. It literally happens in a lot of games for Man City, where there is someone between the center back and the fullback, and there is that empty space when they stretch the opposition. It literally happened. And that's just a good move by Man City. It doesn't have to... Man United could have defended deeper and deeper and deeper. Man City were going to be all right. Like, to be honest, they were going to win the game at some point because the quality isn't there. They were going to push more people higher until they win the game. But Man United, guys, had chances to go 2-2 and 3-3. And for the lack of quality or the lack of heart or the lack of... I don't know what you have to say, the courage, Rashford chose to go down. Rashford many times, by the way, and Garnacho and Anthony chose to turn and go back to their goal instead of going and trying to dribble and do something. You can put that down to not having support, but I believe it's all about courage.
My main issue is that much worse teams have come to the Etihad this season, and they've put up an actual fight, and they've actually pushed City a lot more. And Spurs came to City with basically everyone this season. Spurs came to the Etihad with however many injuries. They came with no centre backs, and yet they were still able to construct triangles to try to get out of our press, and it worked more often than not. United didn't have any sort of interesting patterns of play in terms of trying to get out of our press. They were out of ideas. Even Everton, when they came to us, they set up better defensively, and they actually were less passive in the press.
Bad defensively in opens. Like they weren't terrible defensively, man. Especially in the first half.
United.
Yeah, they weren't terribly bad.
United conceded
in the first half. Were they bad?
Yes, United conceded 2 ridiculously what should have been easy chances for City to score in the first half. They were very bad defensively overall. Varane was good on an individual level, but from a systemic issue, if you give Erling Haaland a literal tap in, then you haven't defended. I can't say you've defended well. How can I?
Okay, so you think you defended well?
Pardon?
Yeah,
You think Man
I'd
City
say City
defended
defended
well?
well.
So move on to the other part. Do you think City defended well?
Mm-hmm.
What in the game? Yes.
I'm asking you.
We limited. How many shots on? Didn't they have 3 shots on target?
3 shots on target.
One of which was like a 93rd minute header from Casemiro. How much XG did we concede? Wasn't it like I don't know how much it was, but I'm pretty sure it was.
Didn't
It was.
check it.
I'm
checking
pretty sure it
now.
was minimal.
0.25 XG, three United
Wow.
shots, 1 on target.
Yeah. So I would suggest that is defending well. Yes, you can say, oh, United got him behind, but that comes with the territory of playing a high line. More often than not, it didn't lead to anything.
Do you think you can do this against Liverpool, for example?
Liverpool won't play like that against
Or
us, so it's a
Arsenal.
moot point. Arsenal also won't play like that, so it's a moot point.
But Arsenal did this against Liverpool at some point. They defended deep and played counterattacks.
What? When was this?
Against Liverpool, when they went 1-0 up, Arsenal defended deep a little bit.
Yeah, and then we equalised at 1-1, and they couldn't get back out again, and we should have won the game if we didn't hit the fucking bar from 3 yards out. When they came at us,
You think that's the
couldn't handle
3-1 game? You should have won the game, the 3-1.
I thought you were about the 1-1 at Anfield.
No. I'm talking about the 3-1. They defended a little bit deeper, even at their home, in some parts of the game. If Arsenal didn't,
what United did, no, there is no way that Liverpool
The
are
only
going
time
to.
we've ever done that, against City was last year during our worst ever season.
And it was not to the same level. United had 26% of the ball or whatever. If you look at their average positions, it's ridiculous how deep and narrow they are. Even when Liverpool played more defensively against us like last season, it's not comparable at all. There is no way that Liverpool play like that. There is no way that Arsenal will play like that because they're far too good to play like that.
The good sides will have a mid-block against City to try and limit the midfield. United had a low block, which meant all their dangerous players in the midfield had the time to do what they wanted. That's the difference. United were just hoping that City would eventually panic and settle for crosses into the box because they could deal with crosses into the box, even though they didn't, in the end, didn't end up dealing with them very well. That was the issue. Look, I agree to a certain extent. There's not an awful lot.
I mean the game they played at Anfield. I'm sorry.
The 1-1.
Yeah, the 1-1.
The
3-1 they defended for a bit, and I'm like, they pressed the first half.
In the 1-1, Arsenal defended deep.
Yeah.
Should have given away a penalty. Then we scored because by defending deep, we were able to play long balls in behind Zinchenko because Zinchenko doesn't have defensive IQ like that. We scored, and then because they've been defending deep, they then struggled to get back out, and we were able to sustain pressure. We just couldn't capitalize on it, which has been an issue we've had a number of times this season. That's the difference. There's a reason why teams won't do that against City, because if you can't get out against us, you're never getting out against City, because City have better players. That's a stone cold fact. Rodri, De Bruyne, Bernardo, Foden, they'll suffocate you. They will ensure you don't get any sort of joy against you. Not any joy.
The better teams will not set up like United did. As I say, United set up like I would expect Luton or Sheffield United to. There's no way Arsenal or Liverpool do it like
If I
that.
look at the games City struggling, it's games where the team goes at them and goes, you know what, we know you're City, but we're going to come for it as well. We'll give it a go as well. We'll try and do our thing. And yes, City win more often than not. They do. They win more often than not. But the games where they don't win, it's when a team does their own thing against them. Like Aston Villa did at Villa Park. Like we've done a number of years. Like Arsenal done at the Emirates. Like Newcastle done in the Cup game. They don't sit there and try and adjust themselves and go, okay, we'll try and attack City here and here because that's the weakness. They just went, we don't care who it is. We're going to play our game because that's how you beat City. You can't sit there and try and prep to stop City because there's too many things they do. There's too many. Because if you try and stop Rodri, then KDB has more space. You try and stop KDB, then Foden has more space. You try and stop Foden, then Bernardo has more space. You cannot stop a team as potent as City. You just have to go and do your own thing. And you need a little bit of luck. That's all it is.
Disagree completely, but fine.
Why?
I completely disagree with you. I actually think you can defend against City if you have quality up top. I'm going to say that again. Against Pep Guardiola, if he pushes 8 or 7 people high and you bypass that press, if you have the quality and you bypass the press, you're in for a 2-on-2 or 3-on-3. I've said that many, many times. And if that happens, it's advantage the forwards. With Diaz, Ake, the only one that can recover is Kyle Walker. And sometimes, like what Chelsea did. What Chelsea did basically is that City tried to press. With a couple of quality passes, they bypass that press. So you can defend deep against City and prevent them from scoring goals. Right? And you can outscore Manchester City, especially
would
if you
say
have a
Chelsea
quality. Can you let me
prevented them, though?
finish? Let me
Yeah,
finish.
sorry.
Please. I'm sorry. That's the point. If you have the quality, do Liverpool have the quality? Yes. Do Arsenal have the quality? Yes. Even Brentford with Ivan Toney, they were a little bit, I think they had a couple of chances as well, Brentford. When they bypassed the press and they were able to get somebody one-on-one. I think in the 1-0 game, the guy that missed the chance from the left, they had 2 1-on-1s that they missed. My point is, you can do it if you know how to set up well, if you know how to defend. A lot of teams did it against Pep. The thing about it is that I agree with one point you said, that City more often than not will win that game if you try to defend against them. But against the teams like Liverpool and Arsenal and the teams that have quality, they can score against Man City. There is a reason why Man City concede goals. By the way, even the goal that they scored, Man United, is just a simple punt over the top, because City positioning this season in the back line isn't the greatest sometimes. For some reason, the defense is exposed. It's not covered. That's why City fans, since the beginning of the season, they say our defense, Rodri has been isolated. Rodri has been in the middle, has been defending by himself. Yes, it's a well-oiled machine going forward, but still in the defense, they concede chances. And it might not be a chance to what you think is a chance, which is someone shooting on the goal. I'm going to repeat it again. Not a lot of teams have the quality to go 3-on-3 at the City defense and create. But once you have the quality, I guarantee you it's dangerous. That's what happens all the time. That's my point, Tom.
I wouldn't say Chelsea defended. I wouldn't say Chelsea limited City in that way. I'd say City's poor finishing.
Yeah, I think, Mo, what you're describing there is something else. Tom is talking about being a total defensive unit and low blocking. What you're describing is having a mixture of having a sort of like mid to low block, but also having a counter-attacking threat. That they aren't the same thing. So you saying you disagree with Tom is naturally accurate, because Tom's your what you've described isn't what Tom was describing.
I disagreed with the point that he said that you cannot defend against it. You have to do your own thing. I actually think a lot of teams can defend deep. Wolves did it, hit City 2 counter-attacks and won the game. Wolves did it.
The Wolves game is a bit of a false dawn. That they did not deserve to win that game. They were very bad that game.
Bro, you scored a goal where Matthias Cunha was injured and you got a free kick after. What are you talking about?
Well, I remember watching the game and Wolves scored from 2 flukes. They were not good in that game. So
Pedro Neto terrorized that left side of yours. Am I remembering this wrong, or? I watch a lot of games. Yes, but this particular game.
The first goal, Ake slipped / made an error with the block, and then it went in off an own goal. The second one, again, was a deflection.
Again, when you say that, I can say a lot about people slipping and people making a mistake.
Even if we're to take the Wolves example, Mo, that's not how United played. That's the point we're making. You framed the argument as there are 2 ways to play, but in reality, we've described 3 there. We've described an out-and-out low block, we've described going for it, and we've described a middle ground. Your argument, Mo, is the middle ground. Tom is making the argument that you shouldn't low block. As I say, there are 3 ways, not 2. It's a mistake to think of it as 2. Do you see my point?
I think the way you beat City depends on what quality you've got, but I just don't see. Yes, I don't see what side has the quality for a low block in this current model
Liverpool,
of football.
Arsenal.
No, but I'd be furious if you went. I don't. But then my point is, Mo, if we're good enough,
Atletico Madrid at some time.
But my point is, Liverpool shouldn't go into City at home and low block. We are
no, not you. I wasn't even talking. We'll talk about your game. I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about why I'm just explaining why I thought Man United were right to do what they did.
But then you did talk about Liverpool Arsenal, because then you said, what's to stop Liverpool and Arsenal playing like that? That's how this conversation originated.
Liverpool at home, the crowd is gonna be there. You shouldn't play like this a little bit. However, I still think if Liverpool defend not that deep, I think you'll give yourself a very good chance of winning against, especially Salah is there and Nunez, to be honest.
I think there's a different. We can adjust stuff. So our defensive line might drop a couple of yards instead of being on the halfway line to being about on the edge of the centre circle. But we're not going to set up in two banks, you know, a rigid system. I wouldn't want us to do that because that would take away from what we excel at.
Liverpool will play the middle ground way. They will defend well, but they will still have those incredibly dangerous outlets like Nunez and Salah. They won't get everyone behind the ball and then just forfeit any counter-attacking opportunities.
We only done what we done last year. Last year was a flash in the pan, and it showed again because we tried to do the same thing at the Etihad and got battered 4-1. The difference is, last year we had to do what we done because our midfield had no mobility. It was Fabinho and Thiago. They are slow. They were washed. They could not move around the football pitch. So we had to sort of limit. We had to get that movement and that energy from elsewhere. Now we have Endo, McAllister, Szoboszlai. Those three, not technically can match City, but physically can match City. They can run round. They have strength. So I'd want us to take the game to them in that sense. Let's battle.
Yeah, let's do the super chats and then see, because I'm going to do Ryan's super chat about the City-Liverpool game. I think Rashford wanted Walker off quite pathetic. I think he thought about the red card 100%. Yes, Reese. He definitely thought about the red card, of course, when he went down. I also think if Arsenal aren't at least level on points with the first place by the time they play City, then I don't see them winning the title. Well, it depends, though. It depends if they get a draw at the Etihad or not. It depends what happens between Liverpool and City. Remember, before Arsenal play Man City, Liverpool play Man City as well. So there is something here to see how the points, who will win against who. Listen, Liverpool almost dropped point against against Nottingham Forest, and we'll come to that game in a bit. Andrew here is saying, Nobbins, did Rodri die for the penalty at Old Trafford?
Was that the Højlund foul?
Yes, he put his arm around his waist and he completely swung his body and turned.
I can't. So apologies if it sounds like a cop out because I genuinely can't really remember. But if memory serves, there was a grabbing motion or a blocking motion, so I don't think it's a comparable situation.
I think it is.
As far as my memory goes, there was an actual hook and a grab.
I'm gonna explain it now. That's my point of view. He put his arm around him. Rodri was trying to run. There was no pulling back, but there was blocking. He blocked.
Sorry. Did he hook his arm around him?
He did. I just explained. He put his arm around his waist while Rodri was running.
Right? Okay.
So that can be interpreted as you impeded him from running without pulling him back. Right? Rodri was running. So he was holding him. In the same time, Kyle Walker put his arm around the biceps of Marcus Rashford. We cannot judge if Walker slowed down.
He didn't, man.
Okay,
Come on, Mo.
Every time I speak, you're not going to let me finish because you know where I'm going with this.
It's meaningless, you know where I'm going with this,
and you are
being defensive. That's why there's no point in you finishing your sentence because it's boring. Well, first of all, Andrew asked me, not to sound arrogant, but he said Nobbins. I've answered it, and if you're trying to say that Walker's wrapped his arm around Rashford's bicep, what are we doing, man? Like, seriously.
All right, then. I think you're just...
I think with the Højlund one, the Højlund Rodri one, it's more of a foul than the.
It is more of a foul. One. I agree.
But the Højlund Rodri one is a great because we see that type of thing where people are grabbing in the box and not around the bicep every single game, and it's never given. He was just given that one time.
Against Gomez,
it's a different gripe. It's a really different gripe.
I
mean, we had it again. We had it in that half against Jadon Danns. So it never gets given now, which is weird.
Why you aren't talking about the Gomez one?
Because, like I just said, in the Forest game, like I just said, at the other end we had it with Jadon Danns and it wasn't given.
All right, let me do the couple and then we'll go to Liverpool game. We are the Wolves and all Nobbins, Hwang and Cunha. Already a longer energy, even Neto pick Hams again, though they said it's just minor. Where is our forward players? Thank you, Wolves FI, for the super chat. Thank you for everybody supporting the channel, sending a super chat. Really appreciate you, people.
Shout out,
really
Wolves.
Appreciate you. Thank you. Shut up, bro. Thank you so much. Appreciate you, buddy. Thank you so much. And Ryan saying, if any team wins that game on Sunday, then that team goes on to win the Prem. So before I move to this, I wanted to talk about the Liverpool game. We wanted to talk about the referee dropping. There's a lot of talk about the referee giving the ball to Liverpool when Konate went down with a head injury.
Yeah, but Forest should have cleared it like 2 or 3 times before the
100%.
goal. So I don't care about what the ref should or shouldn't have done. Like Forest should look at themselves and go, why didn't we clear it? Why didn't Alanga score however many sitters and 1v1s that they should have scored? That's the bigger question, isn't it? Like, I don't referee talk so boring, man. Like, yeah, sure, there was it was a mistake, but there was a similar mistake earlier in the game, and there was a long time before the goal. And again, it was in Forest's own hands. They should have cleared it, and it's their own fault. Forest didn't take their chances. They should have scored the goal. That's the thing, and that's been a story of the season. Teams play Liverpool, and they should score, but they fail to do so. And then, what a surprise! Their elite forwards punish you.
Okay.
That's how I interpret that.
This then, forget the referee. Nunez is clutch. Liverpool won it. Nobbins, do you think this is sustainable, the way that Liverpool play?
Annoyingly, it shouldn't be, but the reality is that if no, it isn't sustainable. However, it doesn't need to be, because we're not going to see Clark start in midfield against City, and we're not going to see only Dan's being brought on as a substitute
or Gomez
option.
at DM.
Or Gomez in defensive midfield. So if this was Liverpool's team, for the next however many weeks, then I would totally say unsustainable. They're going to drop points eventually. We'll beat them at Anfield. But the reality is that Salah's coming back, and Endo will be able to start properly in a week or so. And everyone else is coming back outside of Alisson and Trent, and even they'll be back, like a few weeks after the international break or whatever. So yeah, if they didn't have. If the injuries were more severe from now, then sure, it wouldn't be sustainable. But the reality is they aren't going to keep playing with these, relatively weaker squads. So sadly, I think it probably is sustainable, because it's not what we're going to see going forward.
This sustainability talk. We've been told from week 1 of this season it isn't sustainable what you do. From week 1. We've been told, these numbers, this, that, and the other. Football isn't played by numbers. Football's played on the pitch. You need game winners, you need outliers. And ultimately, Liverpool have certain things that just stand out in that sense. How long? If this is what unsustainable is, we've been unsustainable all season, apparently. If this is what unsustainable is, winning a trophy, being top of the league, being in the other 2 competitions, fuck me, I'll be unsustainable every year. I love being unsustainable if this is what unsustainable is.
For most teams, it probably is. It definitely is unsustainable. But the reality is, when you have players like Van Dijk and players like Salah, it largely doesn't matter, because you can be bad in the game, but then Salah scores the winner. Or as we saw against Forest, bad in the game, in my opinion, but then McAllister, unbelievable ball, Nunez scores the winner. So yeah, for most teams, I think it would be unsustainable. But this is why, Liverpool have some of the best players in the world, as I say, in Salah and Trent when he's available, Alisson, Van Dijk. You can afford to play badly overall in some games, but still get the win. So for example, like in the expected points table, Liverpool are 3rd, but obviously data can only take you so far, and they have lots of intangibles going for them, as I say, like Salah.
Another one that gets me, they go, well, Liverpool have outperformed their expected goals against, this, that, and the other. Yes, because we have a world-class goalkeeper, and we have a very good second-string goalkeeper who can make big saves.
So why,
expected goals against doesn't include that.
Can I ask you something related to what you're going to say? Why isn't the same done for Man City and Arsenal? Every time Man City win 1-0, we say it's this or that. Not we, like the pundits and the media. And why when Arsenal win the last minute, when Arsenal not play well, especially in the beginning of the season before the last 6 games, everyone is talking about Arsenal. This is not sustainable. You can't do it. You can't keep it up. Why it's different for Liverpool? From your opinion, why the media treats Liverpool different?
Because Liverpool have a track record of winning these games which they haven't played well in, and it not being sustainable. And this, we have a track record of disproving that. I'm pretty sure, correct me if I'm wrong, we have the most last-minute goals out of any team in Premier League history. We have the most we have the most
the
last
words
minute
for it.
winners. Like, if not the most, then the second most behind United or something. We are right up there for these late moments. It's kind of like a thing with this club, which Data doesn't appreciate. And also, I think with City, it's a little bit different. With Arsenal, the reason why people were saying it wasn't sustainable was because they didn't have the difference maker. But now they don't need the difference maker because they're blowing teams away. And they're doing it so impressively, and I think they're gonna. I think they could get 9 against Sheffield United tonight. That's how bad Sheffield United are, and how good Arsenal are playing. They could get 9 tonight. With City, I'd say the same thing about City that gets said about us. You have the difference makers. You have a KDB. You have a Haaland. You have a John Stones. You have a Phil Foden, who even when you're not playing well, have moments. Hence why Newcastle 2-1 down. KDB comes on. Changes the game like that. Scores, gets the winning assist. Data wouldn't have told you that, but that's what happens because he's a difference maker. With us, we don't have a KDB, but we have a Van Dijk who is the best defender in the world. We have an Alisson who is the best shot stopper in the world. We have a Salah who is, arguably the best attacker in the Premier League. You have all these difference makers that just get you over the line in certain things. And I think Arsenal are going to get that. Don't get me wrong. I think Declan Rice is one of them already. I think Saliba is there. I think Saka is on that teetering edge. And yes, there are going to be some games where you struggle to get over the line, but it's about getting over the line. At this point in the season, I don't really care about performances. I'm not after us playing eye-catching football and football that will make Barca 2011 weep. No. I care about getting points on the board and wins because that's what matters, especially with the state the squad's been in. I mean, City at home, we could go into that game with as close to a first choice 11 as we can manage this year, and that's still missing 2 of our 4 world-class players. But that's the best it's been for the past month, if not 2. Like, we are just powering through, and it's part of the mentality, it's part of the intangibles of the club. It's all that sort of stuff, which I just don't think can be understood and measured by data. And put down as an expected GA or an expected A or whatever. There's nothing expected about it. That's why we love the sport. It's unexpected. It's football. And teams like Liverpool and City and Arsenal this year, with the amount of late winners they've had, defy the numbers. That's what they do. And I think that the games, I'll say something about this. The games that are coming up, us versus City at Anfield and City versus Arsenal at the Etihad, sorry, they will not. I guarantee you that the numbers won't suggest that's what the result should have been. Because these games are decided by big players in big moments, and numbers don't quantify that.
Let me do the couple of super chats before we go on. Cooler here is saying the Forest players and fans crying about the Liverpool goal is as nonsensical as the Real Madrid. I don't know what that word means.
It's stupid.
Doesn't make sense.
As the Real Madrid players crying about the ball out of play versus City. Yeah, that one was too analyzed, to be honest, at that time. But yeah, I agree with you that maybe it was 2 minutes before. It's just a mistake that the referees make. And with Liverpool complaining about referees, and the penalty that's not given against Gomez, they can't talk anymore. There is something special and intangible. This is what I'm talking about. Cooler, are you a Liverpool fan? I doubt that you're a Liverpool fan. There is something special and intangible about Liverpool. It's the storyline, right? It's the storyline. But thank you for the super chat. It's that's what the media say. Oh, Liverpool this, Liverpool that, which is fine with me. I want Mo Salah to win the league. I'm good before he goes on to Saudi. And let's talk about the game on the next weekend. If the team wins on Sunday, Liverpool gonna be without Alisson and Trent. Salah is gonna be back. That's the reports are saying. Do you guys think that would be a title decider?
If Liverpool win, then City don't win the title, if that's what you mean.
We could really do with a win, to be honest, because of the game out of the week afterwards where someone's going to drop points again. I dread this game because of the pressure around it. I think City know their season's on the line here, probably. I know that like Pep and that won't say it, but there'll be a feeling that their season's on the line, and if they lose here, they're 4 points behind. They've got to. They then have to, in no uncertain terms, beat Arsenal, which I don't think is an easy thing this year, especially with the form they're in. I think it just puts a lot of pressure on City. We can get away with the draw, but then we have to be faultless and hope that City takes something out of Arsenal, which, again, like I said, is not an easy task this year. So a win would be ideal, but I think it's going to be a bit of a cagey game. I think it's going to be a bit of a nervy one. I think whenever we've played City at this part of the season, when it's been a title race, they've not been these swashbuckling games which people expect. It's been cagey, nervy affairs where mistakes are what give the other team the goals, and they normally end up as draws. So the only thing that is in my mind about this game is the fact that City play Arsenal afterwards at the Etihad. That for me is the big one, because I think that's the one which can swing the momentum.
Can I ask everybody in the chat something before I ask Nobbins? Guys, who do you think is favorites to win the game? Liverpool or Manchester City? If you're advising someone, I don't bet, but if you're advising someone to put at £10 or something, $10 on the game, which team would you tip to win the game? Everybody in the chat, please let me know. Just one name and be realistic. Nobbins, who do you think is favorites to win the game with the injuries that Liverpool have, with Alisson out and Trent?
It's still Liverpool because it's at Anfield. We've won there once in 20 years, I think. So I actually think a draw is. I know that wasn't a part of the question, but I actually think a draw is probably the most statistically.
It's 50-50,
if you're a betting man, you put your money on a draw, a score draw.
I think that a draw is probably the most likely scenario based on the circumstances of the title race as well. Like I still think that City might need to go and get a win, but it technically both teams can afford to draw technically, because there are enough games still to play in the season. Also, given if Liverpool were at full strength, then I probably would tip it to Liverpool, to be fair. However, it is big. I'm not saying Kelleher's a bad keeper. I'm not saying that whoever plays at right back is a bad player. But at the end of the day, exactly, he's a good.
Nobbins, don't diss Conor Bradley, then you Tom Little kid on the right back.
Well, I say that just because I don't know.
You are criticizing Conor. You don't
No, because Bradley might play at right wing, and then Klopp might pop Salah somewhere else. That's what I'm saying, because he might play Gomez at right back to have a more defensive team. That's why I didn't.
To be honest,
if
he was going to play Gomez, if he was going to play Gomez,
one of his kids.
If he was going to play Gomez, he'd play Gomez at left back.
Maybe I don't know.
But I see Nobbins. You're absolutely right.
Yeah,
having that guy.
I'm just respecting Bradley by suggesting he can play multiple positions. That's all I'm saying.
Is Jack Grealish going to be available? Is Grealish going to be fit, or is he out?
Having Conor Bradley is different than having Trent. Having Kelleher is different than having Alisson.
Of course it is, and that's why.
No matter how we put it, no matter
how
draw
is probably most likely.
The one thing I will say though, man, is Trent hasn't actually played any of the last 3 City games at Anfield. He's missed all of them.
And you won?
We won one of them and we drew the other one.
And you defended the one you won 1-0 while defending the whole game and playing one long ball to Mohamed Salah, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, again, I think it's a little bit disingenuous.
Isn't that the one? It's not disingenuous.
No,
are you suggesting you're going to play the same way?
No, the reason why I say that was disingenuous is because that wasn't the only chance we had. And it wasn't like City had us penned back and they missed Gill's edge chances. It was actually a pretty even game. I thought Pep fucked up in that game a little bit more so than usual. It wasn't like yesterday where United were camped back, but we just done what they couldn't do and held out. We just set up a little bit differently. And even the year before that, when we drew 2-2, we set up a little bit differently. We always set up a little bit differently. Trent is a miss in a way, because you do lose his creativity. We get what Bradley should do, though, and what I'm hoping, fingers crossed, is him being such a wide threat.
Yep.
Means Salah can just go sit in the box effectively when we're on the attack. You can go sitting around the edge of the box, as close to the goal as you can get, being a goal threat, which is what I think we need with him and Nunez. Having Szoboszlai back is going to be big as well, because I think his athleticism is going to help out Bradley. Doku is the one that, again, just confuses me.
I don't think he'll start.
Who's going to start on the left then?
I didn't think he was bad.
He wasn't good.
He wasn't great, but he wasn't bad. For a 21 years old playing in the Manchester Derby, I thought he terrorized Man United. Like, Dalot was always looking over his shoulder all the time. Casemiro had to cover that part. He wasn't great, but he wasn't bad at all. Like, I
don't think I said he was bad.
Like, because people like Narmin, he's saying he was bad. A lot of people came yesterday and said, "Oh, he was bad" after the game. Like, well, he wasn't that bad.
If he puts in that performance at Anfield, then that's not good enough. To be honest, context isn't relevant. It's like, oh, but he's only 21. No. All that matters is, are you going to be good enough? I don't think he will be. He's not had very good games against the biggest sides this season. I think his best game was actually against Liverpool at the Etihad, but that was before his injury. That was before teams have started to really realise that all you've got to do is double up on him, and he sort of runs out of ideas. There were some good moments yesterday, like he had good link-up play, but I just don't think it's the game for him. At Anfield, you need to have more control.
If Grealish did this like what he did yesterday, people would have been, "Oh my God, it's part of the plan." He takes the ball and passes back.
But Grealish wouldn't have dribbled into two players at a time, wouldn't have given away the ball, leading to counterattacks. That's the difference. And if you do that at Anfield, as we've discussed, with the counterattacking threat of Nunez and Salah, and the good long passing of players like Bradley and Van Dijk from deep and McAllister from deep, then you are asking for trouble. So I would be staggered if he started. Who
would start there though? Is he gonna, if he moves forward out wide, I'm a lot happier.
Well, I actually don't know. I would personally like to see Nunez there. In theory, I'd like to see
Mateus.
Yeah, because that's where he played really well against Luton and Bournemouth as well. Like, he's actually been putting in good shifts on that left-hand side. He offers security. He offers the ball carrying, which Grealish does. He offers defensive work rate as well. That's a little bit of a gripe of mine with Doku. He's not quite switched on sometimes defensively. And I know that Ake has got a good history of dealing with Salah, but ideally you don't want to leave him 1v1. So it's got to be a player who's going to be able to... What, Ake and Salah?
Yeah. I'm just... Salah, mind you, I'm just saying that because Salah normally scores.
Yeah, exactly.
He might have a good game around that, but Salah normally scores. That's all really after.
When it comes to the 1v1 duels,
he can have a good game, but Salah will get a goal or something. You know.
Yeah, when it comes to like the 1v1s, so it's like the two main examples last season were Salah and Saka. Ake has a very good job of locking up, isn't the right word, but dealing with them very well. That being said, even though he will deal with them well on an individual level, he still will need some support. So I want maybe a more defensive-minded player on that left side. I've seen people suggest Foden on the left. That's fine. That could work. But I don't really want to see it. I want to see more.
I would be a very happy man if Pep ended up chucking Foden out wide.
Yeah, I conversely wouldn't.
Did you see him wide yesterday? Did you see him cutting inside from the right side? Why, or you didn't?
But and that was the difference, wasn't it? Because technically he started right wing, but his best moments came when he was allowed to drift inside.
Yeah, but lately Pep is allowing him to do that lately.
In the second half he did, but in the first half he was basically restricted to touchline duties.
A couple of games ago, his heat map was everywhere. Even though on the paper he was starting the right side.
Yeah.
Guys,
sorry,
listen. No. I'm gonna do a couple.
I just remember when we played them early the Etihad this year, and Foden out wide didn't have the same impact on the game as he should have done.
Because he was a touchline winger. Yeah.
Yes. Staying on the like Doku is not Foden style. Like, he needs to be between the pockets, receiving the ball, turning, facing defenders, closer to the goal. To be honest, guys, we have over 460 people here. I really hope that we can get to 300 likes. So the like button is underneath your live chat. The like button helps the channel massively. It will help this video reach more people. So like the video, get us to 300 likes. The like button, if you don't know, because some people don't know, it's underneath your live chat. If you're on your phone, close the live chat. There's an X, and then it looks like thumbs up. Narmin, thank you, Narmin Habibti. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. Saying the last game between Pep and Klopp, end of an era.
Well,
I can't
it might
wait
not
for
be.
that
In
particular
the Premier League, anyway.
Might be in the cup game because they are. It might be in the cup game.
I'm telling you, Mo. If we make the watch what they'll
Aren't you
try
the
and
one
do.
who said they're making everything to have Pep versus Klopp in the cup final?
Yes, because the FA Cup final will be Jurgen Klopp's last ever game as Liverpool
You're
manager.
the one who
You
said
know,
that
you
last
know
time.
what they'd want to do. You know what they want. Klopp versus Pep at Wembley in his last ever game. You know they're desperate for that.
Yeah. Users saying, have a court case coming up. Will you be my judge? Yeah, I'll be your judge, but Nobbins will be your lawyer. This Nobbins can be your lawyer.
Yeah, and I charge up front.
I hope a user you're ready to have debate. You're ready to not
You'll
argue
be the
about your
jury.
case,
You
but
can be
about
the jury. You can be the jury.
no. I'm just.
You guys
I'm just
have
giving
jury
them,
system in UK.
yeah.
Yes.
I didn't know that.
What did you think? We had some old fashioned thing with just
In
the judge
Egypt, we
decides
don't have
everything.
jury system. We don't.
Do you know?
We don't. There's no jury in Egypt.
Wow. You learn something new every day.
Hold on. Hold on. This is Segway. Which jury?
Learning about Egyptian politics.
Which jury? Which countries have jury system? It's called jurisdiction, whatever. Which country? Can you Google that? Country. Which countries have jury trials?
The more you know.
Hold on. There are commonly used in countries where legal system derived from the British Empire, such as United Kingdom, United States, Canada, Australia, and Ireland. Most other countries use variations of European civil laws. So not a lot of people have juries. Only some countries. It's the other way around, Tom.
What?
You live, you learn.
It's not like I've ever needed to know, but interesting.
Leave Liverpool for once, and then you might learn something.
No, I'm all right here, mate.
Anyway, Martin. Oh, thank you, Martin. Guys, make sure to subscribe to the Mancunian Way. Martin is doing fantastic. Great jobs. Content always. Great match reactions by the Mancunian Way. Doku isn't bad. It's just weird. It's just a weird one. We don't play his style. We do not play hit the line winger, to be honest. But he's the one who's stretching the opposition, Martin, to be honest. That's Doku. He's the one who's stretching the opposition. And there is a reason why Pep always tells his team to go left to Doku, because he wants the opposition stretched a little bit. He wants them worried. That's what I think, at least.
He just needs to improve his decision making. That's all.
Yes, that will come with time. That will come with time. Talking about that game, talking about Foden, I've heard someone say that Foden, this is the last part of the show, that Foden is performing to be one of the best players in the world at the current moment.
Yeah.
Does anybody agree with this?
Does anyone disagree with that?
Let's be real. If City won the league, Foden would be the favourite for Player of the Year. To be Player of the Year in the Premier League must mean you're one of the best players in the world.
I'd say he's top 3 in the Prem this season. So yeah, I think that's a fair statement. He's at least top 5. You can make an argument for it should be 3rd or 4th, but he's at least we can all hopefully agree he's at least top 5.
I'd say who would you say the 5 best players in the league have been this year then?
I'd say
Van.
I have a shout.
I'd say maybe Van.
The league has been Van Dijk.
No, I was going to say Van Dijk and Rice. I think you could definitely make really strong arguments for better than Foden.
Yeah.
I think most people would say Salah.
Mm-hmm.
But he has been injured for a bit, Nobin.
Exactly. That I would personally maybe not agree with that.
It's 2 months is too much.
Yes, but I think some people.
I think what's impressive though is even though he's been out injured 2 months, he's still like right at the top of them charts. So it's not like
and Salah's numbers will always put him there, like no matter even if he's out injured or whatever. Some people would say Trent, some people would say Alisson, some people would say Rodri.
Rodri, Rice.
But for me, I think that or Saliba maybe. But for me, it's
Saliba, probably.
I think that again, Foden's at least top 5. I personally have him top 3. Maybe that will get extended towards the end of the season.
Hold on. So let me just put this out there. We say Rodri, Foden from Man City. Is that fair?
As our 2 best players, yeah.
From Liverpool.
Van Dijk, Salah, yeah.
Rice and Saliba. Is that fair to say?
Those have been our each respective club's 2 best performers. Yeah, I think that's fair.
number one comment about this, where's Saka isn't included in that.
Saka's not been Arsenal's best or second best, or I'd even argue third best player this season.
All right then.
I don't think that's I don't think that's a controversial thing to say. I think Gabriel's probably been better. I think Rice has been better. I think Saliba's been better. You can make a case for Odegaard being better. Yeah, I don't. Not that he's been bad, but I just think other Arsenal players have been better.
Nobbins, you obviously mean he's been bad because people don't have the common understanding that when I say someone's good, it doesn't automatically mean I'm saying the other player is bad.
It's because I'm not interested in how many goals or assists he gets, because I've watched basically every single Arsenal game and I can see with my eyes who've been the best performance for Arsenal this season, and Saka's not been.
Arsenal's defense
does not mean Saka has been bad. That he has been good. I'd say he was better last season, but again, if you're only
Morgan Gibbs White, that's been good. So Pedro Neto. So
when you ask an Arsenal fan,
players.
When you ask an Arsenal fan what their best attribute this season's been, it's been their defense. It's been the fact that Rice, Saliba, and Gabriel has been such a strong spine to that team. Hence why they've conceded 7 shots on target in the last 6 games or something mental, ridiculous stat. Like the XG is dead low. There's a graph out there which just looks absolutely mental. That core is probably the main reason why they are where they are. That is why they're getting the plaudits. For us, we have been a moments team. We are always going to be a moments team. So you need the player who contributes the most in those moments. It's Salah. And the player who makes sure that defensively there are moments against you, Van Dijk. For City, it's midfield dominance. City suffocate teams in their midfield. Rodri has been the key at setting everything up. Foden has been the key at punishing them. If you were to do a top 10, Saka's probably 6th or 7th.
In what? In the league?
Yeah, in terms of the best performers this season, Saka probably is in the top 10 best performers in the league this year. You could argue 6th, 7th, 8th.
Okay, hold on. Like that. There's Rodri. Okay, so let's establish the obvious ones, right? There is Rodri, Salah, Van Dijk. I would argue these are the 3 best players in each team. Am I wrong to say that?
I'd say Foden over Rodri, as you know.
Okay, let's establish Foden 4th. Is that all right to say?
Sure.
Salah 5th. Let's just put 5, number 5. Saliba, Gabriel. So that's 7.
Watkins.
Only Watkins. 8. I'm gonna keep counting until I see. Okay, so basically, I want both of you to get names that you think is
Alisson.
Before we reach Saka. Alisson.
Trent.
10.
I'd struggle to put Trent above Saka this season. I think Trent's had a better.
So remove 10. Remove Trent. That's 9. If Liverpool fans say remove Trent, I'm removing Trent. Yes. Douglas Luiz, someone said no.
I think there's probably room for another Villa player in there, but maybe like a Pau Torres or something. I think he's been very good.
No, he has been out of the team for a while.
Is he injured? Is he? I've completely missed that. Haaland probably.
Haaland ahead of Saka, even though it's 2 months away. If we put Salah there, we have to put Haaland.
Who's been Spurs' best player, would you say?
They have none, because it's up and down, up and down, up and down.
Because
Maddison is injured for 2.5 months or something. Van de Ven has been injured for a bit.
Van de Ven would have been in if he'd played December.
But he hasn't played for 2 months, you know that, right?
Like, that's the thing. I think Van de Ven's hit a higher level than Saka has, but it's just not been longer.
I think he missed like 70 days or something like this, Van de Ven. That's a lot. So...
Vicario
ahead of Saka? Okay.
Yeah.
10.
Vicario's been immense.
So you guys counted 10 players before Saka.
Top 15 then.
I would still put Saka in the top 10.
It's ridiculous. Huh?
I would still put Saka in the top 10.
Do you disagree with that, Mo?
I can make an argument though. Do I disagree? Yeah, he's better than Oli Watkins in my opinion, better than Vicario.
This season, I'm not talking overall, just this season.
About this season, yes.
Okay.
The reason why I'm saying that, and
so you'd have him lower end of top 10.
I would have him 7th or 8th or something like this. Here are the players I'll put ahead of Saka. I'll put Rodri, Foden, Rice, Salah, Van Dijk,
Saliba, Gabriel,
and I'll put Bukayo Saka.
That's interesting because I think most Arsenal fans would say that Gabriel's been better than
Gabriel's been
Saliba
better.
this
Because he
season.
has
To be
been
fair,
scoring goals from corners lately.
do you not agree?
In the beginning of the season, everybody was saying Saliba is the guy. Gabriel has improved, yes. But the argument that Gabriel is better than Saliba because he scores goals, it can be, but it's corners. It's meant to go to Gabriel. They are designing the goals.
No, but
They
I
are
think it's
designing the whole
disingenuous that way.
plan to go to Gabriel.
I'd say it's disingenuous to say the only reason Gabriel is above Saka is because he scores goals off corners. Arsenal's defense has been record breaking in
Yes,
terms of
I
numbers.
agree.
Gabriel has been just as important to that as Saliba
I
has
think
been.
without Saliba, they would fall apart.
I think without Gabriel, I'd struggle as
No,
well.
I don't think so.
I really
They
think
wouldn't be
would.
the same. Okay, here is. I explained this many times, and me and you have discussed this. Saliba is a proactive defender. He prevents it from happening. Can I ask you guys something genuinely? Narmeen said that, but before that, let me do the super chats. Safe Moon, Maxi, saying Arsenal will win the APL. Liverpool got injuries and Man City will drop points at some point.
It's in your hands. If you beat City at the Etihad,
If you beat City at the Etihad, I believe Arsenal are still third favourites. The reason why is the run-in. They have the toughest fixtures. And you play City at the Etihad safe. So it is kind of like, it's just logic, even though you are playing probably, arguably, the best football in the country at the moment. Muki is saying, put some respect on Endo. Bargain and a half. Endo.
I love Endo, but he didn't get into the team.
Not player of the season. He's not top 10.
He didn't really get into the team until he's been
shout
brilliant
out Endo, but yeah,
he's been brilliant from December onwards, but he wasn't really in the team until December. But I really do think a lot of teams are
okay. So
going to adjust what they do because of how good Endo's been.
Okay, great. So that leads us to the last thing is there is a tweet yesterday from Rory, big up Rory. He said, I think Rory said that first thing that people mentioned after Foden scored is Bukayo Saka. Why there is a comparison between both? That's something I want to know.
Because
people consider Foden as a central as a midfielder now, as an attacking midfielder.
Because football fans, especially on Twitter, are mainly children and like to be tribal and compare players who shouldn't be compared, probably.
I don't see why you would ever compare Foden and Saka.
I actually see very legit reason why you would compare. I think for everybody that is saying don't compare players, I actually think it's absolutely, it makes the conversation good. Compare Rice to Rodri in terms of this season. Compare Rice to Bissouma.
They play the same position.
But at the current moment, and Nobbins can correct me if I'm wrong, I'm going off Nobbins' videos. And if you guys are not watching Nobbins' videos, you have to. They are a must. Nobbins' videos on his channel. It's in the description, one click away from your subscription. Foden played on the right more often than playing in the middle. So there is a case to compare him as someone who plays on the right, and they are different. What I mean, Foden likes to cut it, like Foden does something different than Saka because they are different players, as Vinny Jr., as in everybody else. But for two players, if goes to England national team, probably Southgate will have to choose one of them to start on the right if he has his midfield set, for example. So if the conversation is there, the talk is there.
The reason why
every single thing in the history of the football, you compare Fernando Torres to this, you compare Suarez to Torres, you compare Drogba to this, you compare Lampard to Gerrard, we compare Gerrard to Scholes. We do that because we can appreciate both, but also we can compare them to have a conversation.
I mean, the main reason why it is done, in my opinion, is because they're both academy players and they're both young players, and because they're sort of seen or viewed as like the difference makers in their teams. Like a similar thing happened with, as I'm sure it has it with Saka. I only know this because I'm obviously a City fan. You know, when Foden was coming through, it was, oh, but Mason Mount's better, and it was, but a certain someone who plays for Getafe is better, and then it was, Rashford is better. And now it's, because this is, the ultimate question, the ultimate answer is because football fans find enjoyment in comparing stuff, which is fine. I'm not saying that's an issue. at all. But that is the main reason why I think, as I say, I think it's because they're English, and it's because they're both academy players in their respective clubs, and they're like one of, if not the best players for their clubs at times. That's the reason why they are compared. But in terms like from a practical perspective, there's actually nothing wrong with comparing them. But the main barometers of comparison that I see anyway, because that's what Twitter debates get reduced to, are simply goals and assists. And that is inherently an issue. First of all, if you're including penalties. Secondly, if you're not even taking into account their roles. This is why, whatever you think of the Hazard-Salah debates, what you shouldn't have gone to was, well, Salah scores more goals, therefore he's better. There are plenty of arguments why Salah is better than Hazard. Mm-hmm. That shouldn't be your go-to debate, in my opinion. I'm just for clarity, I would say Salah's better than Hazard. I'm just making the point that if that's your main argument, I think that's a pretty poor argument. In the same way that online, all I see is GA, GA, GA. And that's not really the point of what every single footballer is. Foden can have a fantastic game and not score a goal. Foden can have an awful game and score a goal. That's my main gripe with that minimalist, reductive debate.
And I don't.
Before you go on, Tom, I'm going to ask you the question. Tom, before you go on, I'm going to ask you the question that I'm going to ask the chat before you go on. Mm-hmm. Guys in the chat, if you have one place in your roster left, you have a roster, there's one place left. Which player would you choose to be added to your squad? Forget the position, forget anything. You have one player to be added to your squad. You are given a squad. There is one position left. You have Saka and Foden. Which one would you add? Go ahead, Tom.
Again, I think that's a type of question which I need a lot more context. So if you're asking me,
you can.
If I need a
I can answer.
What position do I need? What plays do I have? Do I have like a real good striker, or do I have like a Haaland level striker? Do I have a top striker up top, or do I just have like a let's say an Isak up top?
You have both. You have a Haaland and a Benzema on your team. So you have someone who can play deeper. So you have both on your team. It's your choice. So I add context. You have on your roster Haaland and Harry Kane.
Mm-hmm.
So okay, I answered you.
Then I
context.
Then based on the fact that by the sounds of it, I haven't got many great out and out wingers, I'd go Saka. But if I needed someone to go in the middle, I'd want Foden. If you're asking me who I think is the more naturally gifted footballer, who I think is the better footballer, has more talent, it's Foden. But Saka would be the pick in that situation because he's a better winger. He'd complement Haaland and Kane more. He'd give them the opportunities they need without getting in the way. Whereas I think Foden would need to get into the spaces Harry Kane wants to get into to have the same impact. That's the issue with But again, it's like the argument we had about Harry Kane however many episodes ago, where we said Harry Kane at City probably wouldn't work because of the players behind them. Foden and Kane would end up picking up the same positions. That would be the issue. So in this situation, I would want Saka as a winger.
Can I spice the question a little bit for you, Tom, before I go to Nunez? Okay? I spice the question. I'm going to spice the question. I'm going to give you a combination of two players.
Mm-hmm.
Foden and Haaland, or Saka and Harry Kane together?
Foden and Haaland. I think they complement each other better.
Yeah, that shouldn't be a question, I'll be real.
Really?
I if Saka was a better finisher, it would be more of an argument. But my issue is Harry Kane would create all these opportunities for Saka, and I think Saka would miss more than the dynamic between Foden and Haaland, which is Foden creates all the chances for Haaland, and Haaland scores them all. Kane often creates for the winger.
Who do you think complements Saka then? Give me a name in the world that complements Saka.
Do you know who would really complement Saka?
Yes.
Haaland.
Really?
A striker who's going to score the goals.
But Saka is more of a goal scorer than...
I wouldn't say Saka's more of a goal scorer.
I think Saka is more of a goal scorer.
I think Saka can be an incredible creator. I really do. If you try and make Bukayo Saka a goal scorer, I think you're going to take away a lot of his game. I think you need to let him be this all-round creative, this all-round force on the right.
He's never going to be a Mo Salah in terms of the goal scoring, in terms of that pure output. He's definitely much more of a creative asset on that right side, in my opinion. Not to say he can't score goals, but if we're talking about, him being like like an inside forward, which is what Salah is, in terms of like, being that goal scorer, he's never going to be that. I don't think, unless he adds a ridiculous string to his bow, which we have not seen yet.
And this is me not saying Saka.
Do you know that
score
Saka
goals.
scored double digits in every season of the last 3 seasons, including this season?
Right. How many of those are penalties would be my first question.
But the penalties are part of football as well. Like, sometimes he wins the penalty. He wins the penalty, though.
But you must see that it's not right to judge a player's goal scoring from set plays. You must acknowledge that.
Haaland scores a lot of penalties. It's Kane. Mohamed Salah scores penalties.
Yes, but Haaland also ridiculously outperforms his non-penalty XG and also scores a lot of non-penalty goals. So that's not really an argument.
And again, there's a difference between guessing 10 goals and guessing 20, 25 goals.
Yes.
Which is what the strikers do. Saka still creates a ridiculous amount of chances. Are you telling me if we put Saka with Haaland, Saka wouldn't score as many goals? He'd probably score more. But he'd also get a lot more assist numbers and a lot better creativity numbers because the likes of Jesus, the likes of Havertz wouldn't be missing more than they're scoring. It would be Haaland going, okay, I'm at the back post, tap in 1-0.
Well, someone put a comment. I can't remember the name. I'm sorry, the comments are flying. That the fact that I can decide and a lot of people can decide tells me that the players are very close to each other.
The existence of a debate doesn't mean it's close, in my opinion.
So you don't think it's close?
What in respect of who's the better footballer?
Who would you choose? Remove your. I know that you are a very objective person, Nobbins. I get. Remove your City hat and tell me. Give me an argument. If you are choosing one, why would you choose that guy? Without being a City fan, and I know you can do it.
Well, I think that Foden is fundamentally the better player. I think that outside of last season, in my opinion, Saka's not performed better than Foden in any season that they've had. Saka's last season was his best season last season. Mitigating circumstance, Foden missed a lot of it due to appendicitis and injuries, but nevertheless, he was still better. The reality is that the evidence tells me that Foden's had more better seasons. That's a really bad way of phrasing it. He's had more better seasons than Saka. Therefore, by definition, I've got to conclude that Foden is the better footballer. I think he has more to his game. I think that he's better in the pockets. I think that if you play him in the correct positions, he's a better creator. I think that he's a better ball striker. I think that he's a better difference maker. I think that it's telling that a world-class team full of world-class players, including the likes of Kevin De Bruyne, is a better team with Foden in it. I think that is telling. The fact that Phil Foden improves an already world-class team is telling in itself. That shouldn't be normal.
I just need to dive in it. Hassam, I would join your stream, but you haven't sent me a link to join it yet, so I can't join it. I'm not fucking Mystic.
I'm waiting for him to text me to tell me he's ready to start so I can end this. You know that, right?
He hasn't sent me a link. I can't guess the 10 random characters that are supposed to go after the StreamYard.
I don't think I'm in the minority either. I think that majority rule isn't necessarily a thing or telling, but I think that I think if we did like a poll, not necessarily here, just generally, I think that I saw it in the chat earlier. Most people said Foden. Again, I'm not saying majority rule means the correct thing, but I think that most people would say that Foden is better. And again, there's so many reasons why. I think that again, I think he's got a better first touch. He's got a better half turn. He's more influential in the middle of the pitch, which is the area you need to be the most influential in because it's the most dangerous area to create chances. He's comfortable at right wing, left wing, false 9, attacking midfield, 8. I'd even say that you could play him with the ball in a double pivot with Rodri. That's how good how good he is at doing it from deep.
I think they could form an incredible partnership in the Euros. if Southgate wants to actually have a bit of bottle, play Trent as an inverted wing back to go into a pivot alongside Rice, and then give Bellingham and Foden the freedom, and then put Foden alongside Saka. I think they'd be a ridiculous right-hand side because they're both very smart players. They can bounce off each other. But Southgate's not going to do that. We're going to see a back five with Maguire, Stones, Calvin Phillips will find his way in there. Kieran Trippier, Kyle Walker will be at centre back again. It'll be a shambles. Chilwell
Let me
will
do
be at
the
left
super
back.
chat so we can end this because I know that Hussam just started. Caller is saying people have called me crazy, but in a couple of weeks, you all will see my favorite are Liverpool 1, Arsenal, and Third City. I think it depends on the next game, caller. I think it depends on the Man City versus Arsenal thing. But I think that Liverpool are favorites at the current moment. I don't need to see it. I've been saying this for 2-3 weeks that Liverpool are favorites. I've been saying that for 2-3 weeks. Narmeen is saying because Arsenal fan forced this debate last season when Foden was injured for 2 months. So are City fans at the current moment. So they do. City fans, they do that sometimes now. I've seen it yesterday from a lot of fans on Twitter. I can't say that Nobbins represent all the City fans or LB or Martin or Hamza or the people on Twitter. Each one have their, but they are representative of a portion, right? Like I've seen some, there are people like Nobbins. Okay, Nobbins is unique, but there are people that think like Nobbins. Sam and Tom is also incredible partnership. How dare you, Sam? You didn't text me. You didn't text Tom the link. So we're waiting for you, Habibi. Cooler is saying Saka is better than Foden on the right, not overall. I agree with that.
I agree. Saka's a better winger, by the way. That's not. Foden will never be an elite winger.
I agree with this. Halftime hooks. Reese, thank you so much, Reese, for sending super chats. It isn't just Foden. Literally, Saka's name is first up when anyone scores a goal. It is boring now. I like it, Reese. I don't think it's boring at all.
That's just Twitter tribalism. That's just how life works.
I don't think it's boring. I think it's fun.
Oh yeah, you can take it both ways. You can enjoy it and go with it, or you can be annoyed at it. Like
I don't think it's annoyed. Like I think it's fun, absolutely fun. But thank you so much. AMD saying I didn't see any comparisons last season. You fraud. Actually, last season the comparison started last season. Just to let you know, when Foden was injured, the comparison started last season.
I'd suggest they properly started in earnest after the World Cup when, as you say, Foden had that ankle injury and had appendicitis and therefore missed or wasn't fit and therefore couldn't get into the team.
Yeah, and the Mancunian way, Martin is saying, of course, love Haaland, but Kane was already made. Oh, someone gifted. Edward Joseph, thank you for gifting membership.
What a generous boy.
Thank you so much for gifting 10 memberships. Absolutely brilliant. Thank you so much for that, making people members. Thank you so much. And BPM is saying Saka is in Premier League created and scored more than Foden. Saka, Arsenal leading scorer and assist. Best creator, Saka 20, Premier League GA 13-20 to give Arsenal the lead to equalize.
And that sort of summarizes my main argument, because this is an argument which totally uses goals and assists. Who was better last season in the Premier League, Salah or Saka? We all know the answer is Saka, like by a fair margin. Who had more goals and assists? Oh, Salah. That's why you can't just be using stats like goals and assists, because you've got to use your eyes. Again, if you think that, then you must therefore also think that Salah was better than Saka last season. I personally think Saka was the best right winger in the Premier League last season. I think he was much better than Salah.
Fair enough. Okay, what is going on? Subscribe all to Nobbins, as Martin said, guys. The last thing I'm gonna say: subscribe to Nobbins and Tom. They are in the community also. They are in the description. Also, Martin, the Mancunian way. But stay on the stream. It will take you to This Is Football. I want you guys to go. No spam, nothing. Just go like the video, please. Like the video, please. If you go to Hussam, there is still 400 people here. And just like the video, people, if you go
Can
there.
I get one cheeky plug-in, Mo?
Yeah, of course.
I'll be doing a Manchester Derby analysis video on my channel if you want to watch that. Be like 10 minutes long. Hopefully coming out today, maybe tomorrow. But we will be
10
there.
minutes out of that?
How Phil Foden dismantled Manchester United. That's going to be the title. We're going to be talking about...
I've got people, every 2 videos of Nobbins is a Phil Foden video.
It's not my fault that he's been our best player this season, yeah. If he wants to stop putting in great performances, then I'll stop making the videos. But it's his fault.
Maybe he should just stop being a one-man team. It's not very sustainable.
That's what you sound like.
Hello, Tom. Hello. Yeah, let's go. Hello. Thank you, guys. Appreciate you. Go to Hussam and enjoy the show with Hussam. It never stops. Thank you, people.